Well, first come the good news that for the matching fund we are now $18,872. So we are only another $1,120 short of the matching fund. As you can see, the front of the church is beautifully coming to an end of the construction. For that, I am deeply grateful. And you look up to the altar, you will see at the month of October, November, this is what we do. Beautifully done. You know, every year as the ideas come beautifully and make it better. Not just for the Lord, but for us to be grateful for the people before us who have helped us, who have continued to help us to grow in our love for God and the faith for God and continue our journey. Now, every time when I use this gospel, of course not on a Sunday context, but at the time I'm preaching, and then when I begin to use the word stewardship, people will begin shaking. Oh my God, he's going to ask me for money again. Oh, he's going to ask me for things again. Well, today I want to be very clear to you. I'm not going to ask you to tithe anything, so relax, sit back. I'm not going to ask you, as most of the Protestants ask you 10%. Okay, the research recently showed that 44% of the Baptists tithe and 4% of Catholic do. I'm not here to ask you to tithe anything. I'm here in the name of Jesus, not asking you to tithe 10%, but I'm asking you to give everything you have. Isn't that what Jesus said today in the last reading we just heard? She have gave everything that she owned. Isn't that what we hear today in the first reading from the book of Kings? When Elijah came to the town, hungry, starving to death, and he met a widow and said, "Well, go get me some water." The widow was happy to go because water was plenty. But then he called out and he said, wait, not just the water, bring me a little piece of bread too. And the widow said, oh, heck no. I only have a little flour left. And I'm going to go bake a bread for myself and for my son. We're going to eat and then we die. That's it. Elijah said, well, that's okay. Go do what you want. But first, bring me first. Imagine if you being asked that question today. How would you respond? The widow did exactly what Elijah asked her. And guess what at the end of the first reading today? The oil jug never what? What is that? Never dry up. And the flour never been empty. The problem is many times in your life and my life, we don't want God's will to be done. Or we're afraid that God's will would be done because it not be my will. The same thing in the second reading. Let's say it again. Let's look carefully what Jesus said. A poor widow came and put in 2 small coins worth a few cents. Now, what does that mean to us today in America? You know, America, we have a lot of coins, right? What is the biggest denomination of coins? Come on, you Americans, you better know that. What the biggest denomination in coins? What the value of it? But you don't even know. Come on, louder. Thank you, Jesus. $1. What is the second biggest one? 50 cents. Then, quarter, dime, and now this woman put in 2 small coins worth a few cents. She didn't put in $2 coin at all. She probably put in a nickels and a penny. The smallest denomination of all coins available, worth a few cents. When we use the word a few cents, what means? It means it's less than a dime. And Jesus complimented her for that. Because she has given everything she has. Now, it's easy when we talk about financial, but there are other things we can give in as well. Other things we can share as well. Our times, our talents. You know, sometimes I'm very grateful for my life as a priest. That being a priest, I can share more than a regular person. You know, because one thing that I say means more than other things that people say. Now, not because I'm holier, but it's just because of who I am. It helps. Because of who you are, you too could help. We can share what we have. Sometimes we don't want to share because that's really good. I want to share that. Here's the bad thing. I want to share that. You know, the food that we give, do we give from our surpluses? Yes, we do it all the time. The thing that we like, we want to keep it in our closet. The thing that we don't eat, here, Father, you can have it. You see, that's normal. The things that as a pastor, I'm deeply grateful that you're willing to share me to, my own talents. Not that I share, but you too, for the good of all those people. Of course, you love us, our Father. I would love to for you to stay home every week, so I don't have to be bored out for the Isidore's homily. You laugh. You did. I'm going to tell him that. You laugh at this. Okay. You know, I would love for that. But the willingness to share. And I'm grateful for you to willing to share me. You know, I just came back from the 8 days vacation. Wow. With John Heffernan. What the heck the guy said? He afraid I'm going to call his name out today. You know, we went to 8 days of traveling. 2.5 days of flying. And 5.5 days we traveled to 3 countries. Vietnam, Cambodia, and Thailand. And we left here last Thursday at 1 o'clock. We come back yesterday at 1:15. You know, but it's amazing experience. John said he'd been in a lot of places do missionary work. Never seen one like that. I took him to one of the villages in Cambodia where we rescue and rehab these children being sold to such slavery. John was there, you know, being a white man in this country, he got a lot of free pass, you know what I mean? Like people bypassed me and try to get to him. In one of the villages he came, he met that very bad neighbors where they sold children into such slavery. John was there, met an old evangelical white man, and you know, they was talking, and the older guy said, well, we here to help children such slavery. John looked at him and said, how legit are you? And the older guy looked at John and said, I'm questioning the same thing about you. But in that area, when John coming in, children, 5, 6, 7 years old, come up and beat the crap out of John. They kicked him. He thought that they was playing. So he said, man, that whole neighbor come out. And then John came to another village where I and my group has a house and we have the whole neighborhood. And John said, I couldn't believe the difference. Children like little one like this jump up and say, hello, hello. They call on me. That's mean American you in Vietnamese, okay? They say, hello, on me. And John know that by now. John said, what's the difference between the two? Simple. Because in one village, we have good works there. We rehab them. We train them. We tell them what it is. So when Americans guy came in there, they know. The children know. They're not in here to destroy all the children's life. They're here to help. In the other village, they know that since we haven't done anything there, they know this white man come in here to do bad. That's because we willing to share. We willing to share our gifts, our talents, and our treasures. We willing. Yeah, that's why I'm talking about you, John. You, buddy. Yeah, I'm talking about you. I've been telling all about you, John. And that's who we are. We willing to share. I just told the people about you being kicked in the butt by 2 kids. And that's the difference. because we're willing to share. The gospel today calls us to share, not to hold back. Because what we share will, so therefore our oil container can never go empty, never dries up. But if we hold everything back for ourselves and we don't want to share, guess what's going to happen? If you hold one person to yourself, not willing to share when that person dies, nobody else want to share what they have with you anymore. We look at the example of two priests up here, Luke Creed and Robert. If they just hold everything back for themselves, would we be here today the same as we are? I don't think so. If Robert didn't help to build these beams, you think this church still standing today? No. If Luke Creed didn't leave the cathedral of St. John the Baptist and do missionary in this rural country, how many of us still here today? If he didn't travel all over South Georgia, celebrating Mass, even when the bishop didn't allow him to do so, how many churches actually rises up today? Because he's willing to share. If these names of these people who passed before us here, in this past year, in this church, didn't willing to share their time, their talent, and their treasures, where are we today? I'm looking at this altar today. You know, it was given by whom? You know who? Mary Crawford. Exactly. She passed away. But if she didn't give, we wouldn't have an altar today. If you all didn't come up, the front of the church would be collapsing today. If Ron and his teachers didn't willing to give up their times, their talent to teach for your children in the CCD, who would? You see how we can share. Not just the financial. And I'm not here to ask for 10% of the time. I'm here to ask everything that you have. While we usually refer to the gospel as the good news, sometimes would be so good of a news, isn't it? It may be the good news for others, but not my good news, God, I gotta share. We call that the good news. Today, the good news challenges us, you and I, to take another step forward, to share, to give, and not to take. Don't we complain about our generation all the time, the young generation nowadays? It's about me. It's all, I want this, I want that, I want this. Shut up. Ask what you give, not what you can take. You know, sometimes I look back to my own life. I know I'm the biggest sinner here in church. But it's just weird. You know, I came to this country exactly 20 years ago. No word of English. Go through all the up and downs. From the cleaning of the toilets to all those public servants. And today I'm a priest. And sometimes, you know, even my own people, the Vietnamese, question me, why don't I take my gift and serve the Vietnamese? Why should I be serving an all Anglos community? You know what I told them? If the Anglos didn't help me 20 years ago, I'm still be back in Vietnam and serve nobody. You see what I'm trying to say? 20 years ago when I came here, no word of English. My mom right there and I and my dad, $49. We begin our new life in Chicago. No word of English. But who helped us? The Anglos. You guys. So I'm willing to give back. Not of what I have, but what you all have put into my life so the fruit can grow. It's amazing. It's amazing of what it taught us here today. You know, the gospel today is just coincident with what I just came back. And as I said, not just I'm willing to share, it's all up you two. You are allowing me to share that gift with all those people. In the names of you, I do those work. I can't do it by myself. And for that, I'm grateful. My dear friends, as this family of faith, I always call this a family of faith. I never call us a community of faith. As this family of faith continue to move forward, we need to continue to be generous to one another, to willing to share. And at the end, as the first reading tells us, our jar of oil will never dry. The jar of flour can never be empty. And Jesus will look at us and say, that person have given the most. Not out of their surpluses, but everything that he or she owns. And as a pastor of this church, I'm grateful that you have been doing it. I encourage you to continue to do it. To teach the younger generation the spirit of giving, of sharing. And together, trust me, we be great in